we are with Representative Alicia Rule from the 42nd District. Now, you just spent a week and a half of floor action. In fact, a couple of those days were really, really long. But I hear that, 5 of your bills are still alive, so congratulations on that. And talk to us a little bit about some of those bills.
Thank you. Yes, those were some long days, but I'm really happy that we got a lot of really good things done. We do still have 5 bills alive that I've been sponsoring. 2 of them are disaster recovery bills for floods, but what I really want to talk to you today is about kids. Outdoor learning is one of my favorite things. We know that kids can learn outside of the 4 walls of a classroom, and outdoor learning allows a lot of kids to have experiences that they've never had before, and they actually improve their test scores out there. So, we've got kids who will go into an outdoor school who will be on hikes and learning how to identify trees and measuring the angles of the sun. And they come back and test in school in science, and their scores are improved by 27%. But it's not just science, it's also literature. And a lot of times they'll have gained leadership skills. So I'm really excited about the possibilities in that bill, because it also includes, in addition to outdoor school, some experiences for maybe younger kids that might be even an outdoor garden, or just doing a short field trip to the local beach. We've got some students in my district who live right in the Mount Baker district who have never been to the top of the mountain. Like, can you imagine? You live in Mount Baker and you go to Mount Baker school, but you haven't been to Mount Baker. So this is something that is really important to me, and I'm really excited about the potential here as we think about alternatives to the 4 walls of a classroom for children. The other thing I'm really excited about, which is pretty timely considering the behavioral health crisis that our children are in, is a bill that supports student wellness. And that increases the number of nurses and mental health professionals in schools. And I find this to be really important, of course, now, but it's always been important that we have the right supports for students right where they're at. As a social worker myself, I know that in my training, it's something that we had really drilled into us, that we meet the client where they're at. Well, gosh, if we're going to do that for kids, that's going to be in school most of the time. And it's really important that we have the right people there to be able to ascertain what's going on. Sometimes in a school setting, a kid can come in and say, I have a stomach ache. And that can be a lot of things. That can be a kid who's experiencing anxiety. It can be a child who's going hungry. It could be a child who's sick, and these school nurses and school social workers and mental health professionals are just really great at being able to help the child to know what next steps might be and support families in these difficult times. I am also really wanting to tell you a little bit more about our most vulnerable kids. And in this case, the most vulnerable kids are our foster children. Less than 50% of foster children are actually able to get through a high school education. And that is something that we really have a responsibility to do some correcting. So one thing I learned as a social worker, working with these folks, is that sometimes the school system and the DCYF system just don't marry up very well in their language. And so this is a bill that does that, allows social workers and the teachers and administration at school to be able to talk to each other and solve problems for a youth or a child, regardless of their status. So, we might have a child who's a youth in foster care who's going to do a trial visit home. Well, we know keeping their school stable is one of the very best things we could do for them. And nobody would argue that. But the way that the language was in the law made it really difficult for those professionals to be able to work together for solutions. This will fix that. And it's really important to me that when we're looking at student learning, we're inclusive of all students, especially our most vulnerable.